In this video, I wanted to see if I could beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon White 2 with half the types banned. That's right, this is a follow-up video to my Pokémon Black run from a few weeks ago, and I've taken the types that weren't banned in that video, and I'm going to be using them to see if I can beat Pokémon White 2. This gives me a really interesting selection of Pokémon to use in my return to Unova, and I'm going to need every single one of them if I want to win this run, because under my hardcore Nuzlocke rules, if a Pokémon faints, it's considered dead and must be released. I can also only catch the first eligible encounter in each area. The rest of the rules for this run can be seen on screen now and in the description. I'll also be playing Pokémon White 2 on challenge mode, just to make it that little bit harder. With the rules out the way then, let's jump right in and get ready, because this run is probably the most disastrous Pokémon Nuzlocke I've ever done. Oh, and remember to like and subscribe, because it'll make me happy. On with the video. So first things first, we've got to pick our starter, and unfortunately, unlike in Black 1 where I had access to Tepig, Snivy and Oshawott, I actually don't get any of the starters this time around. That means instead I have to head on to Route 19 to find my actual starter for this run, and I found the creepy little rat dude, Patrat. Patrat isn't actually terrible for the early game, so with Mario by my side I'm able to set off on my journey for real. That was strange. Anyway, moving on, I'm able to head on to Route 20 to catch our second little friend for this run, a Pidove I named Luigi. Luigi has the ability Super Luck, so I'm actually excited to see what my little bird can do. With Luigi added to my party, I only get one more encounter before our first gym badge, and I'm expecting a little pup here. Get it? You know, because it's a little pup, but it's little, oh, forget it. Ignoring my attempts at what some would call a joke, we're able to head on to Velocity Ranch, and instead of finding a Lillipup, I actually get insanely lucky and instead find a Railu. Railu is an incredibly broken encounter, so with Yoshi, I'm pretty confident that the early game is probably going to be a cakewalk. So much so that I decide to make things a little bit harder for myself. I decide to avoid completely sweeping the first couple of gyms. I'm going to hold off on evolving Railu for the time being, just to keep things interesting. With our 3 encounters collected then, we can challenge the first gym leader. Can somebody check if he's okay? First gym time, and we've got to face off against Cheren, the normal type gym leader. This could easily get out of control as Cheren has more Pokemon than me, and all of his Pokemon know Work Up, and Yoshi hasn't learned a fighting move yet. Let's jump right in then and hope for a little bit of luck. Cheren starts with Patrat, and I start with Luigi. Patrat immediately starts working up, while my bird can only get off a weak gust. Thankfully, Cheren decides to stop going for work-ups after the first one and instead starts going for tackles. This lets Luigi get off 2 more attacks to bring the rat down into KO range, but unfortunately Cheren then uses a potion on the following turn, meaning Luigi is unable to get the KO. Luigi is then able to get off another 2 attacks before being brought into the red. It looks like if I don't get a Super Luck crit on the next turn or roll really high, my bird is going to go down. So I hold my breath and pray for Luigi, but unfortunately he just misses the KO by what looks like 1 HP. This means the Patrat hits back with a tackle, taking down my bird. Rest in peace, Luigi, you never got a chance to shine, and unfortunately you're the first of many fallen comrades on this journey. If nothing else, Mario is able to come in and KO the murderous rat with a single tackle. This is not looking good. I've still got 2 of Cheren's Pokemon to deal with, and only 2 of my own. Hopefully we can still pull through this. Cheren's second Pokemon is Lillipup, who of course starts going for work-ups immediately. Luckily Mario clearly isn't playing around, as he's able to crit the stupid pup with a tackle that does a huge amount. Lillipup then nails Mario with a tackle that does a stupid amount, even if an Oran Berry does heal back some of the damage. Mario does try his best and is able to land another tackle in response, but it only brings the pup to just below half. This isn't looking good. A second tackle brings Mario into the red, before Mario hits back, also bringing the pup into the red. Well, it looks like I'm going to lose someone else here unless the AI decides to go for work up again for some stupid reason. Of course, I don't get that lucky, meaning we lose our second Pokemon in this battle and our starter. Like Luigi, Mario never really got a chance to shine. Rest in peace, my little rat friend. Just like with Cheren's first Pokemon, I am at the very least able to send in Yoshi and revenge kill with a quick attack. That just leaves Cheren's last Pokemon, his own Pidove. There's a chance Yoshi can pull off a win here, as Cheren's Pidove doesn't have a flying type move, but this is going to be close. Yoshi and Pidove start going back and forth with with quick attacks. We're doing about the same amount of damage to each other, but thanks to an Oran Berry, Yoshi is able to outlast the bird and eventually land one final quick attack for the victory. That's it, we've won our first gym badge of the run. Only problem is now we've only got one more Pokemon left, meaning I'm gonna have to start rebuilding my team immediately. Oh well, I'm sure this is the only gym fight in this run where I leave with only one Pokemon left alive. Oh no, that sounded like sarcastic foreshadowing, didn't it? With Charon defeated, it's time to start rebuilding my team, and annoyingly, I only get one more encounter before our next gym. Not a lot I can really do about that though, so I head on to the Bank Complex to find my next Pokemon, and Aldino I name Peach. Peach is actually going to be really useful because she has the ability Regenerator. This ability restores some of their HP every time she switches in. She's also very tanky, so she's going to be very difficult to KO. With Peach added to my very small party then, I decide to evolve Yoshi into Lucario. I was planning to wait until after this gym. I need the extra firepower after the tragedy of that first gym fight. With my team as ready as it's ever going to be then, it's time to challenge Roxy, the poison type gym leader. So Roxy starts with Coughing and I start with Yoshi. Thanks to evolving Yoshi, he's now a steel type and walls Roxy's team pretty hard. Unfortunately, Quick Attack is still doing low damage, so let's hope Yoshi can tank his way through this. Thanks to Coughing healing with a berry and then a potion, it does take many Quick Attacks, and Yoshi does have to use his Oran Berry, but eventually the floating gas ball goes down. Right, one down, two more to go. Second is Grimer, who actually threatens with Mud Shot, so I switch into Peach. Much to my amusement, on the switch, Peach takes 1 damage from a Mud Shot. Whoa, scary attack right there. I then start going for double slaps that do low damage before running into an issue. The Grimer feels like being a cheeky boy and disables my double slap, which is my one attacking move. This could take a while. I decide to try and stall out the disable for a few turns with growls before eventually my double slap comes back online. Right, now to start KOing, and I get disabled again. This Grimer is a I do try and stall out the disable again, but Peach is brought so low, I'm forced to switch into Yoshi on a Venoshock that he's immune to. Much to my surprise, Mud Slap is doing next to nothing despite being super effective, so I'm able to stay in with Yoshi and KO with a couple more quick attacks. Okay, both my Pokemon are hurt here, but we've only got Whirlipede left to deal with, so we should be fine. So I start going for quick attacks and Whirlipede starts going for rollouts. Now I'm slightly worried about rollout slowly building up enough power here to eventually KO Yoshi, but there's not a lot I can do to play around this because if I send in Peach, she will probably just die. So I keep going for quick attacks, just hoping rollout will miss once, and it comes down to the point where one more rollout will KO if it lands. So I pray to Arceus that I get lucky with a 10% miss, and unfortunately it doesn't happen, meaning we lose Yoshi and any hope I have of winning this fight. Rest in peace Yoshi, you should have been a staple throughout this entire game, but it just wasn't meant to be. That just leaves me and Peach, and unless I get stupidly lucky with double slaps here, I'm not winning this. Gotta give it our all though, so I start going for double slaps, and Peach only lands 2 hits. This doesn't bode well. Luckily, Peach isn't done yet and lands 4 double slaps on the following turn, bringing the Whirlipede low enough to where I might actually win this. I'm not surviving another attack though, so this run lives on dies on what Peach does on this next turn. 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, Peach actually did it. Somehow despite losing Yoshi, thanks to Peach, attempt 1 limps on. Second gym badge acquired, could really use some more encounters right now. Thankfully, we're off to the big city where me and Peach can start rebuilding my team. Firstly, past Castelia City on Route 4, we can find another normal type, a Minincho we name Toad. Another basic normal type isn't really ideal, but I'm not really in the position to be fussy. Next, heading into the underbelly of Castelia City, in the Castelia sewers, we find yet another normal type. To be honest, this is starting to feel like a normal only run. This time we find another rat, a Rattata we name Rosalina. Now normally Rosalina would be a pretty strong encounter as I can evolve him into a surprisingly strong Raticate, especially if he has guts. Of course though, because this is just one of those runs, not only do I not get guts on my rat, which would have been really useful, he also has a minus attack nature. God, what a disappointment. At least my next encounter has a lot more potential. Inside Relic Passage, I'm able to catch Daisy the Drillbur, who has the potential to become one of the strongest encounters I get in this run. Just need to keep her alive to reach that point, and my track record with keeping Pokemon alive so far hasn't exactly been great, so it remains to be seen if Daisy will ever reach her full potential. potential. That just leaves one more encounter before the next gym then. And you know what I don't have enough of on this run so far? That's right, mediocre normal types. With such a shortage, I'm clearly very lucky to find Boo the Skitty just in time. Seriously though, I have no idea how Boo is going to be useful, but I'm sure whatever role she plays, she'll end up being a long-standing and vital member of the team. With my team rebuilt then, we're ready to face off against Berg and his bug types. Berg is often a fairly straightforward fight, but my team is lacking in some key areas. And when I say key areas, I mean it's lacking in literally any redeeming qualities, so this is going to be an uphill battle. Berg starts with Dwebble and I start with Daisy. Daisy is able to start the fight with a strong dig that does over half to Berg's bug, but annoyingly a lot of the damage is healed by an Oran Berry. Thanks to that Oran Berry, it takes another 2 digs to KO the Dwebble, meaning Daisy has to take 2 feint attacks that leave her really low. With Dwebble down, Berg decides to send in his big guns, his ace Leathani. Leathani is going to be a nightmare for my team to take down, so I need a 3 switch in here. If only I had a completely useless normal type that has no other real purpose than to be a sack. Oh, Boo, I didn't see you there, perfect timing. So with a heavy heart, I salute as I send my tiny kitty in on a hard Razor Leaf that does over half, and then watch as Berg's murderous bug KOs my innocent kitty with a second Razor Leaf. Rest in peace, Boo, I'll never forget you. Your constant support really held this team together. Anyway, with that worthless piece of garbage sacrificed, I'm able to get Rosalina in for 3. Rosalina then gets outsped and takes a Razor Leaf that at the very least does less than half. Rosalina then hits back with a strength that actually doesn't do a lot at all. I'm in trouble again, aren't I? I decide to stay in and risk a crit from a second Razor Leaf to get off some more damage with a second strength. My rat does this job well, but unfortunately Berg's ace pretty much immediately heals back all of that damage with another berry. This is going to be another bloodbath, I can tell. I could let my rat go down here, but I'm thinking he might be needed against Berg's other bugs, so I decide to switch straight into Peach, who immediately gets crit for over half her health. Brilliant. Okay, I need my luck to turn around real quick here, or I'm not winning this. That crit has left Peach low enough to where I think I'm going to need to take advantage of her regenerator ability to regain some HP. Unfortunately for Toad, that means making another sacrifice, so I switch into Toad on a Grass Whistle, which Toad actually avoids. That could mean Toad might actually survive and put the Leathani to sleep, but of course that's not the case, because Leathani then lands a Grass Whistle on the following turn and KOs while Toad naps. You gave me some false hope there, Toad. Thanks a lot. At the very least, Peach can now come back in with most of their HP restored. My luck then finally starts turning around as Leathani then misses a Grass Whistle on the following turn and Peach lands an Attract. Attract might just keep Peach alive long enough to get the KO here, so maybe there's a chance we get through this only losing 2 bad normal types. So I start going for secret powers and Peach is able to force Berg to use his Hyper Potion and paralyze his ace and then bring the bug back down to 50%, all without taking a single hit. Peach is a beast. Annoyingly though, Peach's luck eventually does run out and she is finally put to sleep with a Grass Whistle and then has to take a Razor Leaf before waking up and landing another secret power that brings the ace really low. One more secret power then brings Leathani down into the red before another Razor Leaf lands and leaves Peach close to death. Peach then just has to land one last secret power for the KO. Peach, you put in some bloody good work to take that thing down, but we're not out of the woods quite yet. Berg has 2 more Pokemon, the first of which is Carablast. The problem I've now got is that my 3 remaining Pokemon are nowhere near healthy enough to take down Berg's last 2 bugs. I do have one out, however. If I use a Regenerator by switching Peach out twice, she will gain back a huge amount of HP, giving me a real chance of winning this thing. This does unfortunately mean that Daisy and Rosalina are not going to get through this. Daisy is a huge loss for the rest of this run, but right now I need to focus on getting through this and not what comes after. So with actual sadness this time, and not just pretend sadness that I had for my useless normal types, I send out Daisy and watch as she gets taken down by a headbutt. Rest in peace, Daisy, we're going to win this for you. With Daisy down, I'm able to send in Peach with over 50% of their HP back. Perfect. So I start going for strong secret powers while the Carablast hits back with hard headbutts. Carablast is doing enough damage to where I decide it's best to get off an Attract on the following turn. Unfortunately though, after taking another secret power, unlike Leathani, the Carablast is clearly a Sigma male with no time for love and breaks through the Attract bringing Peach really low. I should have been paying more attention at this point because I thought Peach was outspeeding. Turns out that they were speed tied, meaning if I hadn't gotten lucky with a tract right there, I probably would have just lost this entire run. Luckily, it turns out the Carablast is actually a beta, so he's immobilized by love long enough for Peach to get the KO. Right, almost through this. All that's left for Berg is his Shelmet, and Peach isn't going to take another hit here unless I make another sacrifice. God, it's a bit morbid to keep sacrificing Pokemon to keep Peach healthy, but there's not a lot else I can do. So I switch into Rosalina, fully expecting my rat to go down here, but instead I get lucky as Shelmet goes through a curse. This lets my rat get off another pathetically weak strength before going down to a struggle bug. I would pretend to be upset about my rat going down, but honestly he was the worst Raticate I've ever seen, so enjoy hell, you rat. With my worthless rat going down, he did more than he could have ever done in life and has given Peach enough HP to maybe have a chance to win this. So when Peach comes back in, I immediately go through an attract, which might buy me the few extra turns I need. I then start going for secret powers. Shelmet keeps going for Curse, increasing its attack and defense, which is horrifying, but thanks to some divine intervention, Peach is able to not get hit long enough to take down the Shelmet and win us our third gym badge. That was another bloodbath. I'll be completely honest, this run should have probably died already, but somehow, thanks to Peach, hope remains alive. Let's just hope we can get some more friends, really quickly. Third gym badge acquired. Unfortunately, before I even get another encounter, right around the corner from this gym is a Colress fight where he has two bulky steel types and Peach will be taking Sandstorm Chip every turn. I'm not taking any risks with this fight, so I level Peach up to the level cap of 30, and it's a bloody good job I did because Peach wins this fight by the skin of her teeth. One more attack and I would have just lost, but this attempt is the run that refuses to die, so Peach survives on 13 HP. Peach surviving means I can actually go and get some more encounters, and in the desert resort I'm able to find an absolutely vital Pokemon if I want to get past this next gym, a Sandshrew I named Diddy Kong. Normally Sandshrews aren't the best ground types, but for once Diddy Kong is kind of the blessing, especially because I can immediately evolve him into Sandslash. I'm also able to grab one other useful encounter. Inside Relic Castle I can find a spooky ghost boy I name Wario. With our 3 brave champions selected then, I'm now ready for the next gym leader, Elisa. Here's hoping it's not another massacre. Elisa starts with her Emolga and I start with Peach. Emolga starts the fight by outspeeding and switching with a weak Volt switch, which means Peach gets off some decent damage into the pink sheep. I'm then able to safely switch into Diddy Kong on a Thunder Wave and then KO with a single dig. Second is Joltik, so I switch back into Peach on an Energy Ball. Peach, being the beast that she is, then crits and gets the paralysis on the stupid zappy bug. I know that Elisa will probably heal the Joltik on the next turn, so I decide to switch back into Diddy Kong. It does then take 2 digs to KO, meaning Diddy Kong has to take a hard Energy Ball, but at least the bug's down. Third is the Spiky Ace, and I would be tempted to switch here, but I'm worried about Pursuit. I was clearly correct to be worried about Pursuit, because that is what the horse goes for on the following turn, but thankfully Diddy Kong takes the hit well, and then gets off a dig for the one shot. Perfect. That just leaves the Flying Rat Emolga. Now I'm going to assume that this Emolga is cursed, because I don't have the footage of me defeating it. I'm honestly a little confused where the footage is gone, because I don't really recall starting or stopping the recording midway through this fight. A little bit strange, but you'll have to just take my word for it that Peach was able to come in and defeat the Emolga with no real problems. Of course, I finally win a gym badge with no deaths in this run, and I can't even show you guys. This run really hates me. If nothing else, we've won our 4th gym badge though, and we can actually walk away from this gym with more than one Pokemon. Somehow we've made it halfway through this run, but the next gym might be the one that finally puts this run down for good. Clay and Excadrill are always super scary run enders, so we're going to need to head on past Driftvale City for the time being to get some more encounters. Firstly, on Route 6 we can find a Dunsparce we named Donkey Kong. Kong would be another mid-normal type, but he does have access to Yawn, so he'll be really useful as a support Pokemon. Then heading slightly further north I can head into Chargestone Cave. I have a chance to get 3 different Pokemon here, all of whom won't really be that useful against Clay. I'm just hoping I don't get the creepy nose. Oh, of course. So it looks like we're getting Bowser the Nose Pass, where I can immediately evolve into the ugliest Pokemon that exists. Like seriously, you took the literal nose Pokemon, made it bigger, and added nose hair. Just no, ew. With those two Pokemon added to my party then, it's time for Clay and his ground types. Let's go win this. So Clay starts with Krokorok, and I start with Donkey Kong. With Donkey Kong taking the Intimidate, I can immediately send my Pink Girl in on a Sandstorm. Krokorok then goes for an annoying Torment, letting Peach get off a gem boosted return that very nearly KOs. Now that Peach has been tormented though, I can't KO with another return, so instead I go through an Attract. Of course this run never gives me a break, because before Peach can land the Attract, the Krokorok lands a critical hit crunch that does massive damage, for f***'s sake. Oh well, at least the Croc is now in love, meaning it can't move on the following turn, and Peach is able to KO with a second return. Second for Clay is Onix, which could be scary because it does like to explode. I decide it's best to avoid having the snake explode in the first place by putting it to sleep, so I switch into Donkey Kong as the Onix increases its speed with Rock Polish. Donkey Kong then has to take a weak Rock Slide before landing a Yawn. A second Rock Slide does bring Donkey Kong to below 50%, but a single Roost fully heals Kong as Onix falls asleep. I can then get off a Dig as Onix wakes up, which doesn't do as much as I was hoping. I guess I'll put the Onix back to sleep then. So I go through another Yawn as the Onix misses a Rock Slide. Perfect. Another Rock Slide then connects before the Rock Snake falls asleep. Another Dig then leaves the Onix really low. I'm getting slightly worried about Onix waking up and exploding again as its HP is really low, so I switch into Peach. Why Peach when I have two other Pokemon that could take the explosion much better? No idea, but at least I'm not punished as Onix just lands another weak Rock Slide. I then do what I should have done last turn and switch into my ugly nose, Bowser. On the switch, the Onix just connects with another Rock Slide. Then the Onix finally does explode, but my big nose takes the hit like it's nothing. Third for Clay then is his own Sand Slash, so I decide to once again go for sleep. Terrifyingly though, as I switch into Donkey Kong, Sand Slash goes through a Home Claws. Right, need this thing gone fast, so I go through a Yawn as the Shrew sets up another scary Home Claws. I'm kinda hoping that maybe the Sand Slash will now start attacking, so I go through a Roost to heal back any damage. Unfortunately though, Sand Slash instead goes through a third Home Claws. This is getting really risky, but thankfully the Sand Slash is now asleep, giving me a little bit of breathing room. Just got to pray for sleep luck, so I start going through returns that are doing just below half. Right, just a few more returns of sleep here and we should be good, so I go through another return that just misses the KO. Cool, that means I just need one more and forgot Clay still had a Hyper Potion. Well, maybe I'll carry on getting lucky with sleep? Of course not, as Sandslash wakes up and lands a Crush Claw that does massive damage. Somehow, Donkey Kong survives though, and is once again able to bring the spiky Shrew down into the red. Okay, just need to get off one more hit here and we're in the clear. Only problem is I don't have anyone that's taking 2 hits from this +3 attack monster, and I'm fairly sure I don't have anyone that can outspeed. That means it's time to make another sacrifice, and the most useless member of my team is probably Bowser. And I'll be honest, I'm probably slightly biased in this decision because I don't want to look at him anymore. So I send in Bowser on a Rock Slide and then watch as my nose is stolen by a Bulldoze. Bye bye you creepy looking Pokemon. I would say you'd be missed, but I'd be lying. With Bowser down, I get a 3 switch into Diddy Kong. Just got to hope and pray he can survive one hit here, so I click Slash and hold my breath, and the Sand Slash goes for a Rock Slide. Okay, very confused on that one. Not gonna complain though, because it means my Shrew beats Clay's. That just leaves Clay's ace, the Moliest Mole, Excadrill. Luckily, I've been saving Diddy Kong's ground gem, so a single dig should get the KO here. Diddy Kong just has to take a hard Metal Claw before a gem boosted dig cleanly one-shots. Oh, must have forgot to equip the gem. That shouldn't be a problem though, just means Diddy Kong has to take one extra hit here before KOing. Well, I suppose I can't expect to never be punished for my mistakes. Rest in peace, Diddy Kong, that was totally on me. With Diddy Kong down though, I do get a 3 switch into Wario. With Wario out, he's able to tank a Metal Claw before landing a Will-O-Wisp. Whoa, stop the video, stop. Those of you that are paying attention will have just realised that I've made a slight error because I kind of went into autopilot mode and used Will-O-Wisp despite the fact that fire type moves are banned. I'm pretty sure Peach would have gotten the KO even if I hadn't made this mistake, but obviously this does accidentally break my rules of the run, so as punishment, Wario has been sacrificed to the cheating gods. That means we're back back down to 3 Pokemon, but at least we made it through that scary gym fight. 5th gym badge acquired. Moving right along from that little bit of cheating then, we get access to the HM Surf. Surf means I get access to Mistralton Cave and 2 more excellent encounters. That's right, I said 2, because the Guidance Chamber counts as a separate area inside of Mistralton Cave. So firstly, inside the Guidance Chamber itself, I'm able to find an Aron I named Luma. This bulky steel rock type is an excellent addition to my team, especially right before the next gym. Second, in the actual Mistralton Cave, I find another amazing encounter, an Axew I named Bowser Jr. Haxorus is obviously one of the best Pokemon in this game, no questions asked, so fingers crossed he stays alive long enough to reach that potential. I'm then able to evolve both of my cave encounters into their secondary forms. Next, I'm able to make my way through Chargestone Cave with no issues, and then just past Mistralton City, I find another encounter. Once again, I find a normal type, this time it's actually a pretty strong one, a Zangoose I named Nabbit. With those 3 encounters out the way then, it means it's time for our 6th gym battle, and up next is Skylar, the flying type leader. This is another gym fight that's going to cause me problems, because most of Skylar's Pokemon have really high special attack, and my Pokemon are kind of lacking in special bulk. Let's just hope we don't lose 90% of our Pokemon again this time. So Skylar starts with Swoobat, and I start with Luma. I want the Swoobat gone as soon as possible, so I go through a Rock Slide on turn 1. Unfortunately, Swoobat does land an Attract, but Luma breaks through, so I think I'll get a nice easy one-shot to start this fight, but of course I miss. Not a great start. Luma then takes a really hard energy ball, but thankfully he hits back and actually lands a gem boosted Rock Slide this time, getting our first KO of the match. Second is Skylar's ace, Swanana, who is really scary. This fat swan is really bulky and likely to rip through my team if I'm not careful. I decide my best bet is probably Peach, so I switch her in on a Surf that does a crazy amount of damage to my most specially tanky Pokemon. Don't really have a choice here but to risk a crit on the following turn, and Peach lives, thank God. Peach might have lived, but a gem boosted return then fails to do over 50%. This is gonna get bad fast again, isn't it? Because return was doing so little, unfortunately I now have to make another tough choice. Because no one on my team is going to be able to take 2 attacks from this overgrown duck, I'm gonna have to let Peach go down. This really sucks because Peach has come through for me so many times this run, but it's the safest play. So I stay in and watch as my longest surviving team member is swept away by a Surf. Rest in peace, Peach. Even with Peach's sacrifice, I'm still in a really bad position here. I decide on Nabbit as he might be fast enough to do some real damage. So I send him in and get hit by a Feather Dance, and another Rock Slide misses. Great. Okay, let's try that again. So I go through another Rock Slide and I get crit by a Surf, and Nabbit gets one shot. Brilliant. Right, so Nabbit clearly didn't work out. New plan, hope Donkey Kong can do something here. So I send in Donkey Kong and go through a Rock Slide as the Swan goes for another Feather Dance, and this time Rock Slide actually connects and very nearly KOs. About time. Unfortunately though, Donkey Kong is then hit by a Surf that does over 50% as a second Rock Slide fails to KO. Right, I would actually be screwed here, but because I know Skylar will heal on the following turn, I think I can see a way out, and that of course is Sleep Setup. So I go through a Yawn as the Swan is brought back to full HP, and then I switch into Junior on a Surf as the Swan falls asleep. Perfect. Now with a bit of luck, I should be in the clear, just need to get off a couple of Dragon Dances. So I start upping my attack and speed, and I'm able to get up to +3 without the Swan waking up. I might actually make it through this, as I'm able to finish off the Swan with a single Dragon Claw on the following turn. Sigilyph then also falls to a single Dragon Claw. That just leaves Skylar's Iron Bird, Skarmory. Skarmory would often be a massive issue for my team, but because of the way the Gen 5 AI works, I'm actually in the clear. The Gen 5 AI hates being slower than your Pokemon, and I've set up my Dragon to +3 speed. That means the Skarmory will just sit there and spam agility while I get the KO with a few Dragon Claws. Nice! Really sucks to lose Peach there, and to a lesser extent Nabbit, but at least we made it through that with most of our team intact. 6th gym badge acquired. As a reward for making it so far in what should have been a doomed run, I'm able to evolve Bowser Jr. and Luma into their final forms. These two are absolute monsters, and I'm hoping they can carry me through a lot of the rest of this game. They'll probably need some backup however, and that means getting on a plane and flying to the other side of the region where I'll find some more encounters. Making it to Reversal Mountain, I'm able to find another rock type, this time a Boldore I named Birdo. It's then a bit of a trek to Route 13, but eventually I make it, and that means I get the spooky balloon boy I named Cappy. A ghost flying type is actually really useful, so Cappy should make an excellent addition to my team. That's actually all the useful encounters I get before we come face to face with our next challenge, Drayden the Dragon-type Gym Leader. Now, I'm actually pretty well set up thanks to my dream team of Luma and Browser Jr., so maybe, just maybe, we can get through this fight without losing half my team. Let's go find out. So Drayden starts with Druddigon, and I start with Bowser Jr. Now, I'm going to take a bit of a risk here and try to set up a Dragon Dance, because if I manage it, it will mean I win. I'm fairly sure my Dragon can take one hit from Drayden's Druddigon, so I hold my breath and pray for the game to show me just a bit of mercy, and for some strange reason, Druddigon goes for a crunch? Huh, okay, not sure on that one, but now I'm completely free to sweep Drayden's entire team. Well, it's about time I had a nice easy gym fight after the nightmare that this run has been so far. That's the 7th gym down, one more to go. So with the Dragon Master down, I actually only have 2 more encounters before we get to our final gym, and they're both pretty strong. On Route 22, I'm able to find the super powerful fighting type, Mindthu, who I name Pauline. Pauline should be an excellent encounter for the rest of this game, so I'm happy to welcome her aboard, especially because she immediately is able to evolve into Minchao. That just leaves one more encounter then, and of course it's another normal type. This time in Giant Chasm, I find a Clefairy I name Wendy. Even with her fairy typing, Wendy should be an absolute tanky monster, so I'm excited to see what she can do. And that's it on encounters then, meaning it's time for our last gym fight. Marlon's team can be fairly scary, especially because I don't have any counters through his Pokémon, but I'm confident that with our fallen friends looking over us, we can pull off another win. So the water-type gym leader starts with Wailord, and I start with Wendy in her debut battle. Wendy starts the fight with a gem-boosted return that leaves the whale just above half before the Wailord hits back with a Scold. Oh, so much for our fallen friends looking over us. For fuck's sake, Wendy really didn't last long, did she? Oh well, that's been the entire theme for the entirety of this run, so why change things now? So with another fallen comrade, I have to carry on, and at the very least Pauline fares much better in her debut battle, as she's able to come in and finish off the overgrown goldfish with a high jump kick. Second is Mantine, and I really don't want to take an air slash here. I'm confident Pauline can take at least one hit though, so I stay in and try to land an attack, but unfortunately Pauline gets confused and hurts herself. This really isn't going according to plan so far. You know what they say when things aren't going according to plan, however? Send in Donkey Kong and put them to sleep. So that's exactly what I do. I send in Donkey Kong on an air slash and then take a very nasty scold before landing a yawn. With Mantine about to fall asleep, I send Pauline back in on what is admittedly a very risky switch, but I do get lucky and don't get punished. The Mantine then falls asleep, meaning 2 rock slides and a drain punch for the KO. Third is Caracosta, who is quickly dispatched with a single drain punch and high jump kick. Last the Marlon then is his big stupid jellyfish, so I decide to get off what damage I can with Pauline with a single bounce before being forced to switch because of the strong Shadow Ball. I decide to switch into Bowser Jr., who after taking another Shadow Ball, KOs with a single gem boosted Dragon Claw. Okay, might have lost Wendy there, but overall that fight went a lot better than it could have done. That's our 8th and final gym badge of the run 1 then, and that means we've just got Victory Road and the Elite Four to go. Hang on, sorry, did I just say Victory Road and the Elite Four? I meant 3 hours of tedious Team Plasma stuff. Such joy. Luckily for you, I'm going to cut everything out, apart from the Getsus fight. Remember, I had to suffer to get to this point though. So after much time and much suffering, we arrive at Getsus, one of the hardest fights in this game. I've actually built up my team quite a bit at this point though, and I have a plan, so fingers crossed this goes well. Firstly, we easily dispatch Getsus' legendary dragon with Pauline, and that pisses him off to the point where the real fight starts. So Getsus starts with his Ghost Coffin, and I start with Pauline. I decide to see how much damage a gem boosted Rock Slide can do, and it's next to nothing. At least I'm not punished, because Kothagrigus gets flinched. With Pauline doing really low damage, and the risk of Toxic, I switch into Donkey Kong, who immediately gets poisoned on the switch. This would usually be annoying, but I'm only planning to use Donkey Kong as support here, so it's not really an issue. Kothagrigus then decides to start being an arse and stalling with Protect, but eventually I'm able to land a yawn. Next is a simple case of switching into Bowser Jr., who takes a nasty Psychic before the Coffin falls asleep. I'm then only able to get off 2 Dragon Dances before the Coffin wakes up, which is less than I would have liked. Luckily, instead of my setup being cut short though, Kothagrigus misses a Toxic. Perfect. That means I can get off 1 more Dragon Dance before the Coffin lands a Toxic, which is immediately cured by a berry. That means this fight is all over, because Bowser Jr. can sweep through Getsus' entire team with Dragon Claws. That was so much easier than it had any right to be, and that means with Team Plasma taken down, it's time time for the end game. Like always, Victory Road is a cakewalk, so we'll skip straight to the Elite Four. It's been a long journey to get here. Let's see who we're bringing for this final challenge. So first up, we've got the newest member of the team, Pauline the Miningshao. Second is our heaviest hitter, Bowser Jr. the Haxorus. Third is the supportiest boy anybody could ask for, Donkey Kong the Dunsparce. Fourth is the absolute unit that is Luma the Aggron. Fifth is Birdo the Gigalith, making his debut right at the end of this run. And last, but by no means least, we've got Cappy the Drift Blimp. This run has been nothing but suffering and loss, and it should have probably died around the third gym, but somehow, against all odds, we've limped on and rebuilt a really powerful team of Pokemon. Do we have what it takes though to finally end this? Let's find out. Remember to wish me luck by leaving a like on this video if you haven't already, and subscribe for more content in the future. Your support is always appreciated. Let's go end this. So first up for this Elite Four is Chantel and her ghost types. I start with Birdo, and Chantel starts with Kothagrigus. Kothagrigus starts the fight by landing a really hard Shadow Ball, but Birdo takes the hit and is able to set up a Stealth Rocks. Perfect, and that's all I really needed Birdo to do for this fight, so I switch into Donkey Kong on a Shadow Ball that Donkey Kong is immune to. Next I connect with a Yawn before Donkey Kong is hit by a Will-O-Wisp. You've probably already worked out what the plan is here, and aren't surprised when I switch into Bowser Jr., who takes a hard Psychic. The Ghost Coffin then falls asleep, allowing me to set up 2 Dragon Dances, and that means it's all over for Chantel, as my Monster Dragon is able to sweep her whole team. Nice easy start to this Elite Four. Let's see if we can carry on with that kind of momentum. Up next to this Elite Four is Grimsley, the Dark type trainer. If you thought the last fight was a cakewalk, you haven't seen anything yet. Grimsley starts with Lipard, and I start with Birdo. Grimsley starts with an annoying Night Slash before Birdo once again is able to set up a Stealth Rocks. I can then switch into Pauline on a Night Slash. I do actually underestimate how fast this cat is because it does outspeed and land a really hard aerial ace into my Meerkat. Thankfully Pauline takes the hit though, and then is able to land a Drain Punch that KOs the cat and restores most of Pauline's HP. Second is Absol, who also goes down to a single Drain Punch. Third is Bishop, who to no one's surprise goes down to a single high jump kick. Fourth is Crocodile, who even after an Intimidate can't stand up to my ridiculous cat. That just leaves Scrafty, and with one last high jump kick, we can confirm that this is the easiest member of this Elite Four. Say what you want about Chantel, at least she took some setup. Halfway through this Elite Four then, and up next is Caitlin. I'm disappointed she's gotten rid of the giant bed that she has in her room in Black and White 1, and she seems to have replaced it with a giant flower. Caitlin's definitely a strange one. Not going to stop me crushing her though, so Caitlin starts with Musharna, and I start with Donkey Kong. That's right, we're going for the setup sweep again. I start the fight with a Yawn, and switch into Bowser Jr. My sweeping dragon is able to get off 3 Dragon Dances before the floating moon cow wakes up and lands a Hypnosis that is immediately cured. I can then start sweeping. That's actually really bad, especially because after surviving, Musharna sets up a Reflect, which is gonna need to be stalled out before I KO. Just gotta hope that Bowser Jr. can survive long enough to stall out the Reflect then, but Hypnosis could really mess up this entire fight. I know that Caitlin will heal on the next turn, so I decide to go for another Dragon Dance. Even at +4, with Reflect I don't think I'd KO, and there's no point knocking this thing out with Reflect still set up, so I go for another Dragon Dance, and then a Hypnosis misses. Okay, that's kinda huge, just need a little bit more luck here. So I go through a Dragon Claw on the following turn, and Musharna misses again, allowing Bowser Jr. to pick up the KO and stall out the Reflect. Holy I just got very lucky. This run finally decided to be nice and give me a break right at the end. Thank God. With Reflect gone and my dragon powered up, this fight is all over and I can sweep all of Caitlin's Pokemon. That just leaves the hardest member of this Elite Four, Marshall the Fighting type trainer. Marshall's Pokemon are always super scary, but I'm hoping with a bit more setup luck, we should be able to do this. So Marshall starts with Throw, and I start off with Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong does have to take a really scary Storm Throw, but like always he survives and lands a Yawn. I then switch into Junior on another Storm Throw before starting my setup. Annoyingly, I'm only able to get off one Dragon Dance before the throw wakes up on the next turn and starts going for Bulldozes. Now, I will always be faster than the Sesame Street character here, so I know it will always go for Bulldoze, as the AI hates being slower than you. This lets me somewhat safely set up 2 more Dragon Dances. Okay, at +4 here, I should be good to start sweeping, so 4 Dragon Claws take down the first thought of Marshall's team before the blue Muppet comes out. This thing would be a bit of an issue had it come out sooner, because I would never be able to one-shot it because of Sturdy. Luckily though, it came out last, so it's a simple case of switching into Cappy and KOing with a gem-boosted acrobatics. Easy. That's the Elite Four taken down then, and that just leaves the champion Iris. Unfortunately, there's no easy setup sweep option here, and this is going to be a rough challenge, as Iris has one of the hardest champion teams to deal with. Let's go see if I can pull off a victory then, as Iris starts with Hydreigon and I start with Pauline. Pauline starts the fight by landing a high jump kick for the one-shot. Good start. Second is Druddigon, who is kind of scary as it has a Life Orb and Sheer Force as an ability, meaning it's going to hit insanely hard. Even when I switch into my insanely tanky Luma, a resisted Outrage still does a lot. A second Outrage brings my tanky boy down to below 50% before I can hit back with a gem boosted Iron Head that just misses the KO. Iris then heals on the next turn, meaning I can't KO and only land a second weaker Iron Head that does less than half. I can't risk Luma taking a Focus Blast here, so instead I switch into Cappy. Unfortunately, Cappy then just misses the KO by what looks like less than 10 HP with a gem boosted acrobatics. That really sucks, especially because then Cappy is hit back by a Thunder Punch that one-shots my big balloon. I don't even get the KO with Life Orb Chip because the Pokemon holding the Life Orb doesn't take damage if it gets a KO with its attacking move. So annoying. Luckily I've got Pauline though, who can come in, outspeed and revenge kill the stupid Lego Dragon. Third for Iris is Aggron, who goes down to a single high jump kick. Fourth is Lapras, who also goes down to a single high jump kick. I love Pauline. Fifth for Iris is her super scary dragon Haxorus, and for once Pauline lets me down and fails to KO with a high jump kick, letting the Haxorus get off a Dragon Dance. Okay, this could get bad fast, but I'm hoping maybe Haxorus will get greedy and go through a second Dragon Dance. Unfortunately, my luck falls through, and the Haxorus doesn't get greedy, meaning a single critical hit Outrage takes down Pauline. My one saving grace here is that Haxorus is now locked into Outrage, so there's a chance Luma can survive a hit. If not, I might be looking at a wipe, so I send her in and just pray that she can survive this hit, and she survives on 5 HP. Holy shit, that was a bit too close. Luma has pulled through though, so one more Iron Head is able to take down the dragon. That just leaves Iris's last Pokemon, Archeops. So I switch into Birdo on a Stone Edge that crits and leaves my Rock Titan on exactly 1 HP. I don't even think Sturdy activated there. I think I just got lucky and he actually survived on 1 HP. What the actual f***? Even with that kind of luck though, I'm still going to have to let Birdo go down, and in the process at least Archeops uses its Flying Gem. My team is getting kind of beat up right here, so I switch into Donkey Kong to put the bird to sleep. And Acrobatics does crazy damage, but Donkey Kong survives and lands one last yawn. It sucks to let Donkey Kong go down here on the following turn, but I need this bird asleep, so I watch as Dunsparce falls to a Dragon Claw before the murderous bird falls asleep. With the bird asleep, I'm able to send in Bowser Jr. for the one shot with a Dragon Claw. That's it then, with only 2 survivors, we've beaten Pokemon White 2 with only half the types. What a crazy run. I don't think I've had so many deaths in a mainline Pokemon game before, but somehow this run that should have died a long time ago has pulled off the impossible. This was a really fun run to play, and if you've got suggestions for future runs, let me know in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.